And we continue on with the first week of February 2016. And it's a leap year this year. Remember that. There's 29 days in the month of February.
You know, I'm going to tell you guys a story real quick.
Do it.
I'm Jared Markle, a digital mastermind of Student of the Gun Radio and just Student of the Gun in general. And the other voice that you heard is the host, Professor Paul Markle. And he is the pimp hand of America. But that's not my story. My story is that we were doing our planning for Student of the Gun, and we decided that we're going to pick one day out of every month, and we're going to make it a Student of the Gun holiday. And by that, let's give them an example. What did you call the one that's coming up soon?
Oh, in February, we're the National Clean the Lint Out of Your Pocket Gun Day.
Yeah. So National
I think that's a worthy one.
Yeah, that's going to be on some day this month. I'll announce that later.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
Yeah, but anyway, so when we were planning it, I was like, oh, let's do it on the last day of February. And it happened this year to be February 29th. So Zach, the shipping ogre, he goes, yeah, let's do that, because then we can only celebrate it every 4 years.
Once every 4 years.
Yeah. I was like, okay, never mind.
Yeah, Jared, we've got he's got on the whiteboard, he's got a calendar all blocked off in February 1 through 29, and he says, we'll do it on February 29th. Zach, being the smart guy that he is, yeah, we'll do it once every 4 years. This all started with the national the National Hug Your AK Day, which we did like 3 or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we did that 2 years ago. We didn't celebrate it a year ago. The first year we did, and then last year we skipped it, and then this year we reminded everybody, just because.
But now every year it's going to happen.
There we go. Until, I don't know.
that was a good catch there.
Okay, so we are coming to you. I am your host, Paul Markle, and we are coming to you from the Silencer Shop Studios, the home of the glass case of emotion.
Silencershop.com, the easiest way to buy silencers online, period.
And we're going to be having someone from Silencer Shop join us on the radio, aren't we, Jared?
Yes, next week. We will have that for you and a couple other special guests.
We do. We have a couple special, 1, 2, at least 3 that I know off the top of my head.
If you guys have any questions about silencers or the process or anything, post them on the Student Gun Facebook page, or if you're in the grad program, put it in there. Or send them via email. Just send them to us so we can ask the guys at Silencer Shop.
And attach them to the foot of a pigeon and send them south.
Yeah.
Speaking of social media, F-Book decided that they're going to – we've always known that the left coast, that all of the social media weenies, whether it's Google or Facebook or Pinterest or Twitter or whatever, that they're all essentially run out of offices in the Silicon Valley in California and what have you. And what do we know about California people? That they're all weak-minded slaves and they do what their masters in D.C. tell them. So it's not really surprising to us that they would jump on the bandwagon. We're waiting. Google owns YouTube, and we're waiting for the shoe to drop there. We're waiting for – I'm sure that as we record this, the people at Google regarding YouTube are weighing the pluses and minuses. They probably have a big whiteboard in a room somewhere. They're like, okay – let's say
they're doing the pros and cons list.
Yeah, the pros and cons are like, actually, pros and cons is not necessarily what you think it is. When you're in the military, when I was in the Marine Corps, we used to have pros and cons. What do you call that? Evaluations. I guess evaluations, individual evaluations.
Do you have your salt shooter?
No, I don't. And pros and cons stands for proficiency and conduct. So when you were evaluated, when you were counseled based upon your proficiency and your conduct. So when people say pros and cons, a lot of times they think good and bad or plus and minus, but there's actually 2 different categories. But I digress. Anyway, I believe that the Google YouTube heads are probably looking, or they've got a whiteboard. They're like, okay, we need to follow the guidance of our slave masters in D.C., and we need to really follow the liberal statist mantra that guns are bad. I mean, we know that. We know guns are bad, and we know people shouldn't be allowed to have guns. Only our slave masters should be allowed to have guns. But on the other side of the column, we make a lot of money from these gun people. Yeah. We have a lot of popularity, a lot of views. We make a lot of money from gun people. So on one hand, we think guns are bad. But on the other hand, people who like guns make us a lot of money. That is the conundrum. That is the conundrum, is it not, Jared?
It is.
So I guess they're doing a balancing act right now. Maybe the federal government will give them a subsidy to make up for the lost revenue from cutting out gun people. Maybe they'll give them some of your tax money. And when they run out of your tax money, they'll just print money or borrow it from China, because we have important programs that need to be funded. And if it means mortgaging your great-grandchildren into the poorhouse, well, then that's just what we have to do, because these programs are important. So did you ever think that you would live in a country, in a representative republic, at least on paper, in the United States of America, where we had to or were forced to go to communist China to borrow money to stay afloat? Did you ever think that that would be the country that you lived in? Makes you happy, doesn't it? All right, well, before we jump into the main topic today, the substitute, the alternative. If you are sick of Facebook, go to gundistrict.com and follow. Did you see they did an upgrade, Jared? They recently did an upgrade to their at least their mobile version or their mobile app of Gun District.
Yeah.
Yeah. They consolidated, because they used to have, like, when you went to the mobile app,
27 things.
It was like likes, members, I don't know, all kinds of, there was like a ton of different numbers. And we said to them, like, why do you have likes, shares, or it wasn't even shares, it was like members, likes, subscribers. I don't know. It was like 4 different categories. And for what they finally consolidated it, and it just is like members or something now, right? Gun District is the 100% gun-friendly, Second Amendment-friendly, whatever you want to call it, social media. Now, they're little. They're infants. They're not – I mean, Facebook has been doing this for, 10, 15, going on 20 years, at least 15 years, right? So they've got multi-million dollars, and they have a whole corral of geeks in California that are fiddle-farting around on their servers every day. Gun District's not that big. It's just a couple of guys and a marketing person. Now, we want to help them get bigger, but I know a lot of you guys out there complaining, are like, I can't do the same thing. It's like, yeah, you know why? Because they don't have $100 million and a team of geeks to change and tweak and add stuff. And it frustrates the crap out of the shipping ogre. You know that, right, Jared? That's like his big thing. It frustrates the crap out of him because he posts on Gun District, or he uses it on his phone. Yeah. And he gets frustrated. He's like,
they're working on a bunch of fixes, but they did just fix a lot of stuff. And like Dad said, Gun District is in the infancy stage of a business, and Facebook is in adulthood stage. And that's their 3 stages: infancy, adolescence, and adulthood. So
yeah, I mean, you can't say, I can do this and this and this on Facebook, and how come I can't do that on Gun District? It's like, because they're new.
Because you need to invite more people to Gun District.
Yeah, actually, that is the truth. The more people are there, the greater
the quicker
leeway.
they change stuff.
Yeah, the quicker, the more revenue that they'll have to increase the functionality. You like it when I use that term? Functionality. The functionality. All right, let's jump into it. Let's jump into thanking our sponsors. Century Arms, the sweetest smelling arms maker in the United States of America. Get your AK today. Get your TP9 SA. Duracoat.
Now everybody that watched that Periscope that we did knows when you say that. They know what you do.
That's right. They know what I do, but not all of you saw it. Periscope. If you're not following us on Periscope, you really should, because Jared has been putting up a bunch of stuff here recently.
They're not a sponsor. That was just a digression there.
Yeah, it's digression. Duracoat, because life is too short to have an ugly gun. And quite frankly, life's too short to have a rusty gun. So if you have a gun whose finish is kaput, it's what you want to do is go ahead and strip all the oil off that thing, and then you can re-blue it or re-brown it or color it with Duracoat products in your own garage.
Thank you all. They're still getting messages on their Facebook page because every time they comment back to people that are saying thanks for supporting Student of the Gun, they tag us. So
cool.
Every time, I know that you guys are actually saying thank you on the Century Arms Facebook page.
Or Duracoat? Are you saying Duracoat or Century Arms?
Both.
Okay.
Century Arms and Duracoat. But thank you guys for doing that, and if you haven't done that yet, I ask you very nicely, will you please go do that?
Okay, and don't forget about the new gun tattoo, the Duracoat the official Student of the Gun tattoos from Duracoat.
Oh, here, speaking of gun tattoo, all right. I had a message the other day that said, well, you keep giving me this homework to download the Student of the Gun mobile app, and as soon as you do your homework and get it on Windows Phone, then I'll do my homework and download it. The Windows Phone app was nixed. It is no more, because literally, I'm not even kidding you, literally 2 people asked us for a Windows app. So, I mean, sorry, we can't really put the manpower into developing one.
Out of the thousands and thousands of people, 2.
So if you know how to develop a Windows app and you would like to have one, then contact me and you can help us out. That would be great.
They're not doing that anymore, right? You can't get Windows app phones anymore.
What? Yeah, you can't?
I don't know. You said they nixed it.
No, our mobile app. Our app. We nixed the Windows app development.
Oh, yeah.
Because we only had 2 people, and it was too expensive to do, honestly.
That's like calling a holster maker, and like calling up Crossbreed or Blackhawk or somebody and saying, I've got a Lorson 9mm, and I want you to make a holster for it. I'm like,
I mean, I'm not hating on Windows phones or anything.
How come you don't make
they work fine.
How come you don't make C-Camp holsters?
Yeah.
Because they produce 100 guns a year, and there's a 10-year waiting list. Brownells at brownells.com. You can get Duracoat, and you can get all kinds of stuff. You have their emergency and survival gear, so go to brownells.com and check those guys out. Also, Velocity Triggers at velocitytriggers.com. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Das geht an die Oma des letzten Propheten Mohammed sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ich bin Allah so dankbar, ein Muslim sein zu dürfen. Das geht an die Oma, wir sind die Oma. Check das aus. Bismillah.
So this weekend, did you guys all catch the special address that Comrade Barry did this weekend? He took to the airwaves, and he asked for some time from the big 3 national networks, and they gave him time. And he went ahead and addressed the atrocities, because we know that Comrade Barry is very concerned with who? Who is Comrade Barry so very, very concerned with, Jared? The lives of what?
I would say Christians.
No. The children.
Okay.
If we can save, if my illegal, unconstitutional executive actions can save the lives of one child, then it's worth it, right? I mean, what do we hear spewed from the mouths of statists and leftists and Democrats? That it's the children. We know that you think, you crazy Second Amendment pro-Constitution wackos, you think that we're trying to steal your liberty. You think that we're trying to curtail your God-given rights. You think that, but it's not. That's not the case at all. We're just trying to save the children because that's what we care about. We love the children. And anything that we can do, any law that we can pass to save the children, well, that's what we're going to do. So after this story broke this weekend, the story broke on, I believe it was Sunday last. Let me see, the dateline on this. Oh, actually, the dateline, it was 2 days ago as you're listening to this. January 31st, 2016, Boko Haram burns kids alive in Nigeria. 86 dead, say officials. Oh, so that's why Comrade Barry took to the airwaves Sunday evening to express his grave concern over the murder of many people, including the many children, by Boko Haram. Not Procol Haram, not a whiter shade of pale, but Boko Haram, right? I mean, you guys all caught that, didn't you? Did you catch that? And a lot of you are looking at me, you're like, A, I don't watch TV, and B, I would rather slam my testicles in a car door than watch Comrade Barry give a speech. So, no, I didn't see that, Paul. Well, obviously, I'm being facetious. Comrade Barry did not take to the airwaves to express his grave concern. Didn't even cry. Didn't even cry. Isn't that why the socialist community organizer from Chicago, isn't that why it cried the other day on national TV, was because of the children? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
I am wrong?
No, you're not. No, you're not wrong. Yes, that's what he said. That's what he did.
He was so concerned over the lives of the children and the gun violence.
Yeah, but those were our children.
And the gun violence, and he's like,
they're more important, don't you know?
I thought every life was, dude, look at me. The people who live in the country of Nigeria, do they have Caucasian light-colored skin, or do they have a darker pigment? I mean, some people in America might say that the people in Nigeria are, quote, black. I thought that black lives mattered.
Yeah.
I thought all black lives mattered. Yep. Apparently, when you're a socialist, when you're a statist in the United States, and your goal is actually to disarm the peasantry, all black lives don't matter. Apparently, 86 black lives in Nigeria don't matter. Let's go ahead and give you some of the details, because we don't expect that the mainstream media is going to cover this. They covered it this weekend, and I noticed this weekend when I was looking at the news feed on my phone. It was up for like an hour, and at the end of the day, I went to the news feed to try and find a link to this story, and it was buried under 27 other stories. 27 other stories buried this because, a survivor hidden in a tree says he watched Boko Haram extremists. This is from abcnews.com.
Isn't that what Boko Haram is?
Well, I'll give you. You want me to give you the definition of the? You're like, what is this Boko Haram thing? Didn't they 1960s band? No. Their literal definition is group of people of Sunnah for preaching and jihad. And they also refer to themselves as the Islamic State of West Africa Province. So, yeah, Boko Haram are Muslim missionaries. Don't ever forget that. Now, people will, they're extremists. No.
I'm not trying to like pick apart their English here, but if Boko Haram and if extremists defines Boko Haram, should they not hyphenate it?
I don't know. Extremists firebombed huts and heard the screams of children burning to death. Amongst 86 people, officials say died in the latest attack by Nigeria's homegrown Islamic extremists. We have to put the word extremists. Based upon history, don't we know that this is the playbook? Oh, let me guess. This is an isolated incident, not at all related to the religion of peace, right? Right? One of 10,000 isolated incidents. Scores of charred corpses and bodies with bullet wounds littered the streets from Saturday night's attack on the Dolore village and 2 nearby camps housing 25,000 refugees. According to survivors and soldiers on the scene, about 5 kilometers from Maiduguri, the birthplace of Boko Haram and the biggest city in Nigeria's northeast. The shooting, burning, and explosions from 3 suicide bombers continued for nearly 4 hours in the unprotected area. Survivor Alamin Bakura said, weeping on a telephone call to the Associated Press. He said several of his family members were killed or wounded. The violence continued as 3 female suicide bombers. Whoa, hang on. I thought that the only people we needed to be afraid of were the military-aged men, that the refugees that we're supposed to be welcoming into Europe and the United States are just women and children, and we have nothing to fear from them. Isn't that what we've been told, Jared? Why do you hate women and children and these Syrian refugees, these death cultists that we want to bring into the United States? Well, why are you so afraid of them? I don't know. Maybe because the death cult straps bombs to their women and sends them in amongst us? Could that be? There you go. There you go, being xenophobic again. That's me, Mr. Xenophobic. The violence continued as 3 female suicide bombers blew up among people who managed to flee to the neighboring Gamori village, killing many people, according to a soldier at the scene who insisted on anonymity because he's not authorized to speak to journalists. Troops arrived at Dolore around 8:40 p.m. Saturday and were unable to overcome the attackers who were better armed. It's awesome. Probably got some, think they got arms from the CIA. Maybe they went to that great big warehouse and picked up some rifles. Jared,
I was
thinking about that. The 20,000 M16A2s that just disappeared.
I was talking to somebody about that on Saturday night. I think it was Saturday. And she said that, what was it? I said something about the guns that they're using to kill us are our guns. And she's like, well, yeah, but we send them the guns that don't work, or I don't remember exactly. I don't remember.
We send them guns that don't work?
No, I don't remember exactly what she said, but it's not that don't work, but that don't work as well as the ones that we have do. And well, first of all, those aren't the ones that I was talking about. I was talking about the stolen ones. But it was just interesting to me that somebody in the military would think that.
Oh, yeah, we send them guns, but we don't send them the really good ones. We send them the less good ones. What? Oh, my God. Did your brain hurt?
Yeah. I was like, yeah, okay.
How do you think like that? Is that why we need to be here?
Yeah.
Because we have such soft-minded people in America?
Professionals that think that is the truth.
Oh, my God in heaven. All right. Any hooser. So we just thought we would point this out to you. And now, all of you hip cats out there in the Student of the Gun audience, you might be thinking, but Paul, didn't you bring up the Boko Haram terrorist group previously? Have we not talked? Yeah, we talked about it several times.
And the other isolated incident.
The other numerous isolated incidents. And one of the main reasons that we were talking about them was because all of the, and this goes all the way back to when Hillary was the Secretary of State, which is just a horrible embarrassment. This entire 8 years has been just a sick, twisted embarrassment. This is going to go down in history as one of the darkest, blackest times in American history when we had these just literal criminals, unconvicted felons were placed in positions of authority in the United States because you and your friends and neighbors and relatives want to be reasonable. Well, can't we all just be reasonable? Yeah, let's be reasonable. No, the ninnies and dimwits in D.C., do you guys remember the Bring Back Our Girls hashtag campaign? When they got all of the hags in D.C., or not all. There's too many to get in one room. A bunch of the Democrat leftist hags got together and held up little signs that said hashtag bring back our girls. And that's how they were. And you're like, well, what is that? Well, when Boko Haram, in addition to burning children alive inside their huts and, sending women out with suicide vests to blow up amongst the refugees, in addition to that, another thing that they were doing was going into villages and kidnapping young girls and using them as slaves. You mean slavery still exists in the world? Yes, slavery still exists in the world. And you know where it exists? It exists in countries that are run by the 7th century death cult. Wrap your mind around that, you liberal puke-faced scumbag. So what have we learned from this story? A, hashtag campaigns don't defeat terrorists, you morons. Jared, did you know if you hashtag bring back our girls, that there are still daily posts with that in them? And not ironic posts. Like when I did it, I was being ironic. No, that seriously, that there are soft-minded imbeciles in the United States that still think that we can put social media pressure on the terrorists to not be terrorists anymore.
Yeah, well.
We can convince the death cult to stop murdering people because when they look at their iPhone, I'm sure when Motumbo Dirk Allah is looking at his iPhone, he's like, oh, the American, they are shaming us with their hashtag campaign. We were going to go to the village and rape girls and steal them and use them as sex slaves, but this hashtag campaign, it is hurting my feeling, and I think we need to not do that anymore. Wow. All right, well, you know what? I don't want to talk about these death cultists and morons anymore because do you get it yet, America? Do you get it? Do you know why your children aren't being raped and murdered right now?
You didn't want to talk about this anymore.
Shut up. You know why your children aren't? You're like, well, because we live in America. No, because there are several thousand miles between you and them. But that's okay because your government is going to put them on boats and bring them here and put them in your communities. So you have that to look forward to. All right, SWAT Fuel. SWAT Fuel, if you use the promo code PREPARED in the month of February, which it is right now, you can save 15% off your total order, which is...
That's righteous. Go to SWATfuelstore.com, use the promo code PREPARED. If that code is expired by the time you hear this, use the code SOTG2015 and you will still save a little bit on your order.
Frog Lube Extreme. Frog Lube Extreme.
You still trying to nurture your voice?
Yeah, I am still. Okay. I'm not going crazy. Now, go to froglube.com or go to brownells.com or go to wherever you want and get yourself some Frog Lube. Put it on your guns. It's minty fresh and it just works. And also, don't forget about our friends at Crossbreed Holsters, the makers of the Super Tuck Deluxe.
The Bruce Jenner commemorative.
Also known as the Bruce Jenner commemorative.
I want to give you guys, everybody on that can hear my voice right now that has a Crossbreed holster, and a couple of you have posted messages or emailed me about how when you use your holster it squeaks. Mine just started doing that the other day, but I've had this one for a while, and I figured out what it is. I figured out the fix. It's leather, and there is metal rubbing against the leather. So if you don't actually take care of your leather, and you need to condition your leather every once in a while. It's like a pair of boots. You don't just leave the leather for years and years.
Why?
What do you mean?
I have to take care of... No, I shouldn't have to take care of anything. It should just be good when I buy it.
Oh, yeah, really?
I shouldn't have to
shouldn't have
lube
to
my
take
guns.
Literally 2 minutes.
I should not have to lube my guns. When I buy them, they should be pre-lubed and ready to go.
Yeah,
and I should never have to do it.
Never, ever.
Nope. I do not do maintenance. I just buy stuff.
Yep.
And it should be good forever.
That's like buying a house and never doing any maintenance on it.
I paid a lot of money for that thing. Nothing should break.
Yeah, eventually it's going to crumble.
No.
So all I did with my holster was I took some leather conditioner. I took a hairdryer. I heated my holster, and I rubbed the leather conditioner on it.
How did you know to do that?
Common sense.
No. How did you know to do that?
Common sense.
No, you can't.
Otherwise
common sense is not an answer.
Otherwise known as
Did you read the directions? Did it tell you to do that?
No, I didn't read directions.
You just like pull it out of your butt?
Leather conditioner? Because I know how leather is.
How did you learn to do that?
How did I learn to do what?
Common sense? Common sense did not tell you to do that.
I don't know. Probably you.
That's not common sense.
Did you tell me to do that? How is that not common sense?
It's really? Really? You think that that's just that people just like inherent common sense is that something you would inherently know.
That you to take care of your leather.
People don't inherently know to do that.
Really?
In the United States of America, are you high? In America today, people don't know that.
Oh my God.
I guarantee you people don't know that.
I quit this country.
You quit the world. People don't know that you're supposed to take. They don't like when I talk about breaking in boots. People are like, "What are you? You just buy them, put them in. You don't break them in."
Well, that's because boots nowadays don't really need broken in.
They don't understand,
but leather still needs taken care of.
They don't know that you should take care of leather. They don't know that you should clean your guns.
I thought you were getting back to like you told me to do this a long time ago, and now I'm remembering.
I'm just saying. So anyway, I still don't get. Does the crossbreed squeak when I wear it?
No, yours doesn't.
Mine doesn't.
It only
I've never had that problem. All these people are like, it squeaks. Like I don't know what
but
you're
I'm
talking
not always
about.
with you either because mine didn't always do it. It just started, and I don't know if it would have quit. I don't know. Probably not. You just have to condition the stuff, and then it won't do it.
You know, if you buy a one size fits all stitched Uncle Mike's holster, they never squeak.
There's other problems with that.
I mean, your gun will eventually be on the ground at your feet, but it won't squeak.
That's funny.
All right, it's time for some quiet time. And the Tuesday Quiet Time moment is brought to you by SilencerShop.com. This is a time that gives me the opportunity to be reflective, not reflexive, but reflective, to consider something a little bit more cerebral. And the topic we spoke of yesterday about we don't arm up and rebel and what have you. I don't want to get into that topic in specific right now, but what I'm going to tell you is it was an article first, and then it became a chapter in the Patriot Fire Team book. And essentially, it's the failed strategy of defense. Now, those of you who have read the Patriot Fire Team book or read the article previous to that a couple of years ago I wrote it, you're like, okay, I get it. But if you haven't, or even if you have read it previously, what I want you to do is I want you to go back and I want you to read that. We in the United States have been conditioned for so long to embrace the word defense, self-defense, and it's, it's a legal precedent about self-defense and so on and so forth. And we've been conditioned to believe in the United States that defense is good and fair and just and correct, but anything proactive or offensive is wrong, bad, illegal, immoral. We can't do it. We shouldn't do it. Well, the problem with that thinking, and this is something that we detail, that I go into in great detail in the PFT book, is when your only strategy is defense, you're setting yourself up for eventual but definite defeat. You're going to be defeated because defense is not a permanent strategy. Whoa, what are you talking about there, Paul? Hang on now. You can't be telling me that. And all of you myopic folks out there, if you don't know what myopic is, you need to go ahead and educate yourself and broaden your vocabulary a little bit. We're not just talking about you walking from the restaurant to your car in a parking lot and it's a justifiable self-defense shooting. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about in the more broad spectrum. How do we behave? How do we deal with problems? Any kind of problem. Not just a deadly force problem, but any kind of problem that we encounter as individuals, as communities, as a nation. When we decide that defense is our strategy, because that's right, that's fair, that's cool, you are going to lose. That is why we're having the problems that we have overseas in all these Dirk Allah countries where we ostensibly we're trying to defeat terrorism on the global war on terrorism. You can't have a war on an ism, and I don't even have time to get into that nonsense. But if we examine the events that took place and are taking place in Oregon right now, I want you to read or reread that chapter, and I want you to apply the lessons to what's currently going on. People say, well, how could this happen? And this is wrong, and da-da-da-da-da. And people are always out there like, well, we're not going to stand for this, and so on and so forth. But are you applying the strategy of defense? Is that what you've got? It's real simple. A boxer, a professional boxer has the absolute best guard in the business, right? But if he doesn't throw a punch once in a while, he's not going to last. The best boxer in the world can't win a fight if all they do is duck and cover and hide their face. Eventually, even a mediocre boxer is going to wear them down, and all it takes is one mistake. They land a punch, and that dude is out. Hey, Jared, as somebody who has fought professionally for a living, for money, I want to ask you a question. Can I ask you a question here?
Yeah.
Are you with me there, bro?
I am with you.
Okay, is your microphone turned on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you guys hear me out there?
I
didn't hear any answers, so maybe not.
When it comes to a fight, whether it's an MMA fight or a boxing match or what have you, or even just straight up grappling, do you want it to go long? Do you want to stretch it out as long as possible, or do you want to end it fast?
End it fast.
Why?
Because everybody has a puncher's chance.
Right.
Anybody, it doesn't matter how skilled you are, they could get that lucky punch. You could just do something wrong, and it's possible. It could happen to anybody.
So
did you see the? Well, you didn't see the fight,
No.
I'm sure, but the fight between McGregor and Dos Anjos. I think that's who it was.
McGregor and Dos Santos?
Dos Anjos.
Dos Años?
And
Like
he is
the years?
Yeah. Dos Anjos is a very technical fighter, but he got caught like immediately. He made a mistake in the first 10 seconds, and he got knocked out.
So on paper, he was the better fighter.
I would say it was closer to even, but I wouldn't say the better fighter.
Okay.
But he is definitely the more experienced fighter.
The longer you fart around in the ring, in the cage, on the street, the longer you fart around, the greater the chances are that you're going to get knocked out. Correct? Would you?
Yeah.
But so if your strategy is defense, if you deal with all of your problems as defensive, what do you do when the person gets around your defense? And I want you. I know that we're belaboring the point a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap it right now. Thank you very much, Alex. I want you guys to do that. I want you to consider the failed strategy of defense and how it's being applied to all of our problems. Not just the one boogeyman in the parking lot as I'm going to my car in the parking garage. Not just that, but as we deal with problems as individuals, as communities, and as a nation. And is defense your one and only strategy? And is it an appropriate strategy?
You guys can go to patriotfireteam.com and you can get a free chapter of the book. It's not this free chapter, but it is a free chapter. Go to patriotfireteam.com and opt in on that page, and it will be automatically delivered to you immediately so you could read it right away. And that is actually defeating terrorism, how to defeat terrorism in the 21st century. That is important information. We just talked about kids being burned alive by terrorists. So you want to know how to defeat those terrorists. Go to patriotfireteam.com.
All right, we will talk to you tomorrow. Now remember, you're a beginner once, but you should indeed be a student for life.